Hello everyone. Welcome to the podcast by Student Alumni and External Relations Committee. I am Ahmedabad. Today we have with us our alumni from the batch of 1983, Mr. Salil Agarwal. In his long illustrious career spanning more than 3 decades, he has worked across many industries with many organizations, from consulting to being visiting professor at IIM Ahmedabad to mentoring small businesses. I think he comes with a very rich experience of the corporate life after the campus. Without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Salil Agarwal and thank him on behalf of the whole SAERC and IMA community for joining us here. Thank you very much, sir, for your time. Um,
Thank you, Piyush.
yeah. So I also have with me Akshat, who is the co-host and who is one of the peers from IIM Ahmedabad. Hello, Akshat.
Hello, Piyush.
Yeah. Sir, you have had such a successful career in which you have, enjoyed diverse roles from consultant to, owning your own proprietary firm. Could you tell us briefly about how your career shaped up and what kind of choices did you make, or what helped you in making those right choices?
To say that I made choices is probably wrong, right? Yes, I've had a very interesting career. And if I look back at my career of 35 years, my career falls very beautifully in 5 spells of 7 years each. And each of these spells of 7 years is uniquely different from each other. Right. So the first 7 years I actually spent for an American multinational, which was my campus placement. I started with them in Bombay, moved with them to Middle East, from there to Germany, and then to the UK. And this, in my last role, I was in a classic product management function, absolutely classic product management function. Uh, as circumstances would have it, it became difficult for me to live in the UK, and I came back to India, and I decided to base myself out of Bhopal, which was my hometown. And I didn't want to do a job, and I became an entrepreneur, and I started a consulting organization. So, a 29-year-old as an independent consultant without gray hair, trying to sell his services. And I did well, right? I did well, and I built up a fairly strong consulting organization in a period of 7 years. So that was the second spell of 7 years, from 90 to 97. Now, as luck would have it, I met up with a friend of mine who suggested that I take up a job with, what is today called Genpact. And I did not have a resume. I didn't have anything. And he said that they're looking for someone like you. And I applied and I got the job. And this job was so attractive that I did not know what to do. So I took up that job and I spent the next 7 years in the BPO industry. So from 97 to 2004, I was in the BPO industry. I did multiple different startups. I can happily say that I was one of the pioneers of the BPO industry. I got fed up of that, and I wanted to go back to consulting. I used to enjoy my consulting, but I realized that consulting on my own in a town like Delhi would not be a great idea. So I decided to join a large consulting organization, which is what took me to Aisha Consulting, from where I got, Aisha Consulting got acquired. So from there, I ended up with PricewaterhouseCoopers. And again, I got into a role which was completely unique. I started, I built a practice for post-merger integration. So, it was something completely alien to me, but just with my whole set of skills, I was able to create that and build a practice. Uh, the fifth spell of 7 years, from approximately 2012 to 2019, was essentially spent in working with startups and small businesses. I was focusing on mentoring entrepreneurs, and that's what I've done. Now, I'm currently in my sixth spell. I really do not know which way it is going. So maybe 6 years later, I'll be able to tell you what I did in these 7 years.
I think that's a great journey, sir. From going to a big multinational and then going abroad for all those good years, and then coming back and doing your own entrepreneurship in Bhopal. That's a big decision in life, I would say. As far as from the position I am sitting at right now, I would not imagine doing this in a span of 5 years. I don't do that. So, sir, I mean, you were also at our stage at one point of time when you were a student at IMA, and your thoughts on your career might be different. You might see yourself in a very different way then. And back, if you look back at this 3 decades of journey, so how would you see it I mean, retrospectively, how do you see it? Do you see, like, when did you get your calling? Because in today's generation, people want to get the first time right. They want
Okay.
to be first time right, and they want to foresee their careers in the way they want to imagine, and they see that, okay, this is how it's going to be for me, and this is how I'm going to spend the rest of my career. But as I see from your example, it can take many turns. So should people be worried about getting that calling or understanding that calling very early in the career? Is it very important to be very nervous about?
Okay. So, Piyush, there are multiple questions. Let me start by first telling you what I thought I would do when I was at IIM Ahmedabad. Right?
Right.
So, at IIM Ahmedabad, one of the most interesting things is I never wanted to go abroad. So, even though I was an ICE call and there were a few job offers from international companies, I did not apply. But as luck would have it, I joined this company in Bombay, and they asked me to move to Saudi Arabia 6 months down the line, and I don't know why and how I said yes. The second thing is I always wanted to do a general management function. So in the 80s, there was a huge focus on general management. And I think broadly, I've been lucky to follow a general management path throughout my life. So I've always been involved in not just a domain, but across domains. So even today, I can handle the marketing function, I can handle a finance function, I can handle a HR function, I can handle, I have enough knowledge across functions. Um so this is how, what I thought about, and this is how it happened. In retrospect, I think, I can't say whether it was a good decision, bad decision, because this is always going to be a hypothetical question, right? You cannot lead your life in any different way, so you will not know what that would have led to. Right? But to respond to your last question, which is, the students who are worried about what is their calling, right? I personally think that it is important to do what seems to be the right thing to do today. So don't plan too much far ahead into your career. In fact, the world is changing so very rapidly. See, the amount of changes that I've seen in 35 years, I'm absolutely sure you will see similar kind of changes in 10 years. And I don't think that you can today decide that I will become a coder, or I'll become a marketing guru, or I'll become a finance guru, or I'll become an HR guru, and be there. Even if you get into HR, the HR function will evolve and change so rapidly that you will not know what happened. Marketing
Right.
function is changing at a speed that you don't understand. Accounting function, finance function is changing extremely rapidly. Few years ago, you were expecting 7-8% return on your money. Today, you're talking about 4% return. So it's a very dynamic and a changing world. Now, in that, if you want to try and create constants for yourself, I do not know how you will do that.
Thank you for that advice, I would say, sir.
Yeah, I think
But
that was really helpful and probably help our viewers as well. And sir, since you mentioned that you were a ice call, I would like to divert here a bit and want to explore your IMA life further. So sir, of course, 80s was a different time. There were not enough computers or gadgets to spend time with. And you were one of the toppers of your batch. How was it different as compared to the life that B school students have right now? And did you get some time to dedicate towards some of your hobbies? And if yes, we would like to know what sort of hobbies did you divulge yourself into?
Okay. So the first thing is, yes, I was an ice call, but I was a very unlike ice call, right? So when the first, so these days at any stage in time, even 30 days later, 40 days later, as the quiz exams happen, you know who's doing where. Way back in the 80s, when the first year results came at the somewhere in July the following year, and I realized that I'm an ice call, I couldn't believe myself. So till that time, I did not even realize that I'm somewhere in the ice call reckoning, and I was just doing well. So yes, I was getting good grades, but we had not really calculated how much was my overall CGPA, etc., etc. And I had no clue that I will be an ice call. Okay, now without the pressure of being an ice call, I think I actually had fun. So one of my, I was very active in the social activities. I've been always loved meeting people, and I was very active in the social activities of the campus. But apart from that, if I look at specific hobbies, I think I was part of the photography club. So I used to develop and print pictures in the darkroom. Um I also, because of my nature of getting to know people, I had made friends outside campus because somewhere I got bored of just people talking about Manac and MSN, and I wanted a different set of conversations. I also made friends with a couple of people at MDP who were local from Ahmedabad who would take me to outings at Law Garden and the Gujarat Club for movies. All in all, I had a great time. So you also, Akshat, you also asked me about how life was different, right? I have been on campus a few times, or more than a few times in the last so many years. Now, it's interesting that I don't see people on campus these days, right? We used to spend a lot of time outside our rooms. Today, everyone is in their rooms and on their smartphones, and your connectivity is through tools like smartphone, and you are on WhatsApp, you are on Facebook, you are on whatever. I think that's where the world was very, very different, right? We would actually end up spending time physically meeting people, because if you had to talk to someone, you had to go out.
Yeah, all right, that makes sense. Thank you, sir. So, sir, recently you have written a book called A Chapter Out of My Life. Uh, I would want to first understand, did you always want to write a book? And also like to know what was your motivation when you wrote this book? And then I would also like to know if you could elaborate more about the book itself. How is it different from other books? I think it talks about experiences and learnings of 19 IM alumni. I would like to know, how did you come up with this idea of reaching out to 19 successful professionals to convey this message? And how did you reach out to these people, and did you face any challenges?
Okay, thank you, Akshat. So yes, I've been very keen on writing a book, and I've been thinking of writing a book for close to 20 years. But somehow, every time I came up with the idea of a book and I started planning the book, I realized that I lacked one very significant skill, and that was the skill of elaboration. So even if I attempted to write a book, my book would get over in 20 pages. Now, 20 pages does not make a book. So a book never happened. Now, more recently, I came up with this idea that, look, if I have a problem writing more than 20 pages, why don't I write 20 pages and get other people to write, 5, 6 pages each? And that's how I came up with this idea of a crowdsourced book, a book which is written by multiple people. And what I end up doing is editing and putting it together. Now, what also helped in making up this mind was the fact that I run the IIM alumni network. I run a Pan IIM alumni network in North India. And we have been having monthly get-togethers for the last 10 years, where I meet a lot of alumni. Right? And every time we meet them, people are very interested in knowing each other's stories, and they are very excited about these stories. So that's where the idea of trying to bring out these stories and sharing them with a larger audience came up. And that's the genesis of the book. So that's how a chapter out of my life was born, right? And that's how we said that let me collect stories. Now, once I decided that this is what we'll do, and it seemed like a very plausible idea, I started reaching out to people. And I first reached out to people in my batch, and I got 30 confirmations. But out of 30 confirmations, after 1 year of follow-up, I had only 6 stories, right? So it's easy for people to confirm, but maybe, it's difficult for people to write. So then I expanded the network to a larger IIM network because I was in touch with a lot of alumni. And I then got another 30 confirmations. And I got another 6 stories, right? So that was about a 1.5 year period. And then COVID came. And when COVID came, I said, listen, I have to finish this book in the next 2 months. I just set myself a deadline. And then I pushed and chased and, ran after another set of people, and I finally managed 19 stories. The original book was planned with 25 stories, but I think we have done well to get 19 stories. And I think everyone who has read the book has liked it. I hope that answers all your questions.
Yes, sir, it does. Thank you very much for your answer, sir. We would like to also know about what kind of stories have alumni submitted to you. What kind of stories does the book cover? If you could elaborate in brief about the book as well.
Okay. So, see, these 19 stories are written by, what I call ordinary people. I call them ordinary people because they are not extraordinary people. They are not extraordinary in the sense that they are not, if you Google them, they will not be the first hit. But each of us has lived great lives. Each of us have stories to tell. And I asked everyone to write one story out of their life that made a difference to them. And these stories are very, very diverse. So one person writes about how he created a social enterprise. Another person talks about how he always had the dream of becoming a CFO and he became a CFO. My own story is titled, Man Proposes, God Disposes. That itself, I think, gives you a hint of what it is all about. A third person has actually written about, a fourth person has actually written about the question that you asked me earlier, what is a person's calling? And he describes how it took him 8 years to figure out what he should be doing with life. So these stories are very, very different. And each story, in fact, there are stories about life, there are stories about success, there are stories about failure, there are stories about challenges in office. And I think each of these stories would resonate with students of your age, and I would highly encourage each one of you to read them, and you'll learn something out of them. It's not a preachy book, so do not try and give you advice. Each of the stories is just a story. What you take away from the story is completely up to you.
So yeah, actually, I read a couple of stories from the book, and they were so that is. I believe it will be interesting for everyone else as well who will read this book.
Thank you,
So
Piyush.
just moving ahead, sir. In terms of collecting these different stories from 19 people, must have not been a very easy task. As you said, it took a lot of time, right? So identifying these people and then chasing them would have been difficult. What other challenges apart from this did you face in terms of getting a book, writing it, editing it, publishing it? It's a whole journey, right? It's a whole
Correct.
list of tasks. So did you face any other challenge? Because understanding that this is your first book, so how did that journey evolve for you?
Okay, so yes, the first biggest challenge, like you rightly said, was chasing people, right? Getting stories was the first big challenge. I think the second big challenge was having to say no to a set of people whose stories did not align with the thought process that I had. For example, one person tried to fill in his entire biography in that, and I did not want that, right? I wanted one chapter and not the life story. A third person sent me a very long write-up and he said he will not allow me to edit it. I said, well, that does not work. So I think saying no to some of these people was a huge challenge. Keeping the, if you want to call it, keeping it the editorial, consistency was very important for me. The challenge in terms of publishing, I had heard lots of stories of challenge of finding publishers, this, that, etc. But then I'd also heard about self-publishing on Kindle, and I realized that a lot of people these days like to read ebooks. Uh, Quite honestly, creating a Kindle ebook or publishing a Kindle ebook is a breeze. I think if I could do it at my age, I think any of you will be able to do it at any point of time. So Kindle from Amazon is one option. The other similar option is Notion Press. Amazon does not offer a print version in India as of now. Notion Press offers the print on demand option in India. So my book is published on Kindle as an ebook, and it is published on Notion Press as a print hard copy book. So basically, every time someone orders, they will print a few copies and they will dispatch to whoever. So the days of publishing and printing 1,000 copies and keeping them with you or finding a distributor, all those things have changed.
I think that's a great insight, sir, for people who are probably about to write a book or thinking of writing a book, that these kind of challenges are there and then you overcome them at this age, especially. So,
Yeah. So
I mean, that's
if
a good.
any of your listeners is keen to write or has written a book or keen to publish it, trust me, it will not take that person more than a week, and each of those people can happily contact me, and I'll be happy to help them.
That's great. I think our viewers will definitely get a lot of help from that. Uh, so, sir, you published a book after almost 30 years of working in the industry, right? So, did you always want to write a book or be an author, or I mean, did was this was already there in your mind from like your childhood days or probably from your college days? And secondly, are you going to write another book? Is there something of a plan for the future?
Okay, so I have always been excited about writing. I used to be part of my school magazine. I used to be the editor of my college magazine, and I was also an editor of the yearbook at IIM Ahmedabad. So this is something that I've enjoyed. And like I mentioned earlier, I've been wanting to write a book for many years, but somehow it did not happen. So I'm very happy that I could actually get out my first book, right? And like I said, it's a crowdsourced book, so I did not have to write too much, and I'm more of an editor who brought it all together. About the second book, yes, I have another book in mind, and this one also will be a crowdsourced book. I love the idea. People love the idea. Everyone has given me great feedback about it. So hopefully you'll hear about it soon. I've not yet started it, so I will be starting to collect stories in the near future.
Great. I think that will also be a really good read, sir. I hope.
Thank you.
So, sir, now I would like to just shift the focus to the audience here in terms of there are so many graduates today who are passionate about dance, literary arts, or probably they want to pursue their hobbies full time. So, is there a way in which the IMA community or probably the other alumni community of other colleges can help these uh, uh, these graduates in getting the guidance, because they have faced the grit, they have faced the challenges and they have overcome them, and probably now they are in a better position to guide someone who is starting afresh. So do you have any thoughts for people who are aspiring writers at IIM Ahmedabad, especially?
So a couple of comments. First of all, I will encourage everyone who has an alternate career in mind to think about it. I think the world right now is set for alternative careers. I know so many people who have made wonderful careers uh, in a completely different profession, right? So I have friends of my children who are doing something which was never heard of earlier. And they're doing well and they're happy, right? And I think that's what's most important. So therefore, I would encourage many more of you to stop thinking of the classic consulting job and the classic finance job and the classic analytics job. If you're keen to pursue a hobby, I think the first and foremost requirement is that you should be passionate about it. Because if you're not passionate about it, nothing works in life. So if I was not passionate about my book, I would never have written a book and never would have completed it. So, and I'm saying this because I find that passion missing in a lot of people. So you have to be very passionate. So I was speaking to a bunch of people in a bunch of students in another college, and this boy said that I really want to fly, but it's very expensive. I said, okay, maybe it's expensive, but what have you done about it? And he said, nothing. So I said, look, if you had decided this and over the last 7 years, if you had started saving for it, you would have probably saved enough money to do it right now. So I'm saying passion can come in multiple different ways, right? The thing is that, our what we are doing today is most important for us, and we are not willing to compromise or sacrifice anything for that passion. So that's point number one. Point number two was, how can the alumni help? So I actually drive a very large network of IIM alumni. I can assure you that if anyone is looking for people or connects with someone who has similar hobbies or done something similar, I will be able to help. Just feel free to reach out to me and I will definitely try and help.
That would be great. And all these tips and insight that you gave, I think these are wonderful insights, sir.
Too much
For
gyan,
anybody.
but I couldn't help it.
No, I think if it's coming from the experience that you have already had, so it is invaluable. Sometimes the right insight and right guidance is what people need, and I think this is exactly that. Uh, so thank you very much, sir, for sharing all these insights with us. We would, I think our viewers would love it.
Yeah. Thank you for
Thank
your
you,
time,
Piyush,
sir.
and thank you, Akshat. Thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for hosting me. And again, if anybody wants to reach out to me, by all means, please do that. I love to talk to people, and I would love to help.